Welcome to TNC, where I spill the tea and we see how we can learn from it. I am your host, TeaSea, and let's start the tea session. Now, since this is the first session of TNC, I thought it fitting to start with a story shared by a friend who laid the foundations for this podcast. This story happened in high school, when my friend, let's call her Claire, had a big friend group. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, a big friend group. Those never work out. Mm, okay, but this is the story of why this friend group did not work out. The friend group had lasted for quite a while, and it was working so well. Or was it? The issue started with this girl who, in retrospect, seemed to be jealous of my friend Claire. Let's call this girl Abigail. No hate to all the Abigails out there. This is just a placeholder. Love you guys. Back to the story. So, Abigail started spreading rumors within the group that my friend Claire did not care about her friends. This was a dumb move, actually, as Claire is this type of friend who would be the one organizing hangouts. She would be the one gifting friends handmade projects. She would be the one friends go to for advice. Naturally, some of the friends who Abigail spoke to were not very convinced, which is how Claire eventually got to know about it, which is how we kinda have the story time. There were also other outward shows of Abigail's insecurities, some of which didn't seem to make much sense. Let's set the stage. Abigail's original interests and fashion style were originally vastly different from Claire's. Even at a glance, Abigail's outfits used to be more feminine, while Claire's outfits were more masculine. And you guessed it, Abigail started wearing more masculine mm, pieces, which were often the exact typologies that Claire wore a few days before. So, Claire wore the cargo pants, Abigail wore new cargo pants. At this stage, you might want to give Abigail the benefit of doubt. Friends can be twinning, it's cute to twin, and it's natural to be inspired by people around you. There's nothing wrong with a little rebrand. Yet, it was almost a little too much copying, especially for Abigail's response when casually asked about the rebrand. So, what did she do? She denied it. Well, people follow trends all the time, and trends change exceedingly fast these days. The onset of fast fashion has also allowed many consumers to be able to afford these ever changing trends. Perhaps it's just that, which would hold true if the elements that have been emulated were only those that were trendy. The tipping point for my friend came when Abigail showed up one day with a phone case that had the exact same unpopular theme as Claire's. Odd, isn't it? Like she hadn't even watched that movie. So why did she buy it? And she haven't even like discussed it and she didn't like engage or was interested in any sort of information related to the theme of that phone case. Okay, and let's leave that aside. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Mm, moving on. Well, Abigail did not completely talk behind Claire's back and hide her thoughts. She actually did tell Claire her thoughts about how she was uncomfortable with her interacting with her crush. Just to make things clear, my friend Claire was treating this guy as a regular friend. And I say this with love. It is not easy to find yourself, and even adults may not have found themselves at the ripe age of, like, say, 30, 60, 80. Like you can tell from especially those older influencers who may share their drama from their high school and things like that. Like sometimes people just don't change and you can't really do anything about it. In my opinion, it is one thing to be insecure, but another to expose yourself. Because what does this action tell us about her? As a crush, as a girl with a crush who hadn't made a move on her crush at all, why was she trying to control or prevent all contact her crush has with another person who does not like her crush in any way? Behind this bravado or like facade of her wanting to control her crush's social circle was perhaps just a girl who was not confident that her crush could like her back, who thought that she would definitely be happy with a boyfriend who might start to have feelings for her friend if they ever interacted. She seems to be blindly changing herself and copying things that don't reflect her true self. Just because people don't call her out on it doesn't mean her insecurities are invisible. And I'm saying this with love, okay? I am saying this as someone who overthinks all the time, and I have had my fair share of insecurities as well. Like, call me desperate, but I have read countless WikiHows and watched TikTok videos, the whole shebang, on how to get people to like you. Whenever I was wondering if I was a problem. And to this day, I do try to drop some words that some people commonly use as a way of mirroring them to make them feel comfortable. But this is just not the way to do it. Like, it's so easy to feel like you are the problem when that person seems so angry and you feel like okay, maybe there's something I did to make them angry. There's something I did that made them not like me, but sometimes some people just act that way because I have this experience from when I was much younger, when I was a wee lad. You know, like when I was 10 years old, I knew that this girl hated me because someone told me about it. And the teacher decided that to ask her to be my friend. So I directly approached her and asked her why she hated me because I was curious and I was keeping it to myself all the time. I couldn't keep myself and so I just asked her like, why do you hate me? And she said, "Oh, I just don't like your face." And this is the exact words that she used. "I just don't like your face." So there could be other reasons, but like the fact that she used this reason means that there wasn't anything specific that I actually did to make her hate me. So you can't really control whether people love you sometimes. And it's okay. Like you can say that many people love chocolate, but not even chocolate has everyone falling for it and loving that piece of chocolate, right? When you lack sufficient confidence, it can be really easy to lose sight of your identity in the chase for validation from others or sometimes yourself. We humans are social creatures, after all. It is only natural for us to love, to fight, to reconcile, and to do it all over again in an attempt to feel less alone. Just to feel like I'm not alone in this huge world. Well, we've come to the end of this podcast, and I hope you enjoyed the tea today. In a bid for learning to love and accept ourselves, I hope that you can think it over and think of one thing that you really appreciate about yourself, no matter how small. Don't be afraid of feeling embarrassed. After all, you don't have to share this with anyone but yourself. But do share it with yourself. Do think it over. So I'll go first. I am proud of myself for brushing my teeth regularly. And I'm happy about it because it's it's a chore, and even if it's a habit, it still takes dedication to do. Like I need to wake up, I need to go to the toilet, I need to pick up the toothbrush and get my hands wet in the process. Okay, maybe it's a sensory thing, but sometimes, yeah, sometimes the tap water is cold, and I actually brush my teeth, so I'm happy about it. So, what about you? Think about it and leave your answers in the comments. I'll be reading them. I'll be supporting you. And this is the end of this tea session. And I look forward to meeting you again. Love you. Until next time. Bye bye.